Welcome to the Explainer. You know, we've all seen an X-ray, but have you ever stopped to think about the incredible skill that goes into getting that perfect shot? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the art and science behind what seems like a simple procedure, the foot X-ray.
So let's start with the biggest challenge, right? The human foot is this amazing complex structure with 26 different bones. How on earth do you capture all of that in a flat 2D image without it just looking like a jumbled mess? That's the puzzle technicians have to solve every single day.
And here's the secret. It's not about one single snapshot. A really good diagnostic foot X-ray is more like a story told in 3 very specific chapters. You've got the anterior-posterior, or AP view, the oblique view, and the lateral view. Each one is designed to show us something completely different.
All right, let's dive right in with that first view, the AP. You can basically think of this as the straight-on, top-down shot of the foot. It's our starting point.
First things first, you've got to get the patient set up just right. They're seated with their knee bent so the foot can lie perfectly flat on the image cassette. And those sandbags, they're absolutely crucial. Even the tiniest little movement can blur the image, so those bags make sure the foot stays perfectly still.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. You'd think the X-ray machine would shoot straight down, right? Perpendicular to the foot. But nope. In most cases, it's actually angled just a little bit, about 10 degrees, pointing toward the heel. So why do that?
Well, it's all about the arch. Every foot is different. To get a clear view of those long metatarsal bones without them looking all squished and distorted, that angle has to be just right for that person's foot. So for a flatter foot, you might only need a gentle 5-degree angle. But for a really high arch, you gotta crank it up to 15 degrees. It's totally customized.
And when you nail all of this, you get this beautiful, comprehensive picture. You can see everything from the teeny tiny bones in the toes, the phalanges, all the way back to the bigger bones in the middle of the foot. Oh, and here's a cool little tidbit. If the doctor suspects there's something stuck in the foot, like a piece of glass, the technician flattens that angle to 0 degrees for the most direct view possible. Okay, so now let's move on to our second shot, the oblique view. This one is all about getting a different perspective and starting to separate things out.
For this view, things get a little more angled. The foot is rolled inward, somewhere between 30 and 45 degrees. A little support block is used to hold it there, and that block is radiolucent, which is just a fancy way of saying the X-rays go right through it, so it won't show up in the picture.
It definitely looks a little awkward, right? But I promise there is a brilliant reason for this very specific position. So what's the goal here? What are we trying to see by rolling the foot like this?
And here's the payoff. This angle is like a secret weapon for getting rid of overlap. It separates out the bones on the side of the foot that are usually all stacked up. This literally opens up the joint spaces and gives the doctor a crystal clear look at bones like the cuboid and the navicular. It's all about creating space so you can see things clearly. And that brings us to our third and final view, the lateral. This one gives us a totally different vantage point, and it's what really completes the story of the foot's anatomy.
The setup for this one is pretty much what you'd expect. The leg is rotated outwards until the outside edge of the foot is resting flat on the cassette. The trick is to get the sole of the foot perfectly perpendicular to that cassette. That's how you get a true side profile.
So where does the X-ray beam get aimed this time? It's pointed right at a very specific spot on the inside of the arch, a bone called the medial cuneiform. By centering it right there, this view perfectly captures the height of the arch and shows exactly how the heel relates to the front of the foot.
So we have our 3 pictures, the top-down, the angled, and the side view. Now what? How does a doctor take this 3-part story and figure out what's actually going on? This is a fantastic real-world example. On the left, you see a normal ossification center. It's just a growth plate, a spot where bone is still forming in a kid or a teenager. But to the untrained eye, it can look an awful lot like what's on the right, a clean break. Without that special oblique view to separate things, it would be incredibly tough to tell them apart.
The lateral view has its own superpower too. Since it shows the foot in profile, it is amazing for finding foreign objects. You can see exactly how deep a piece of metal or glass went, and precisely where it is in relation to all the bones and soft tissue.
So you see, a foot X-ray isn't just about pointing a camera and clicking a button. It's this carefully built series of images. Every angle, every position is chosen for a specific reason, all to tell a complete and clear story about a very complex part of our bodies.
The next time you see a medical image, maybe you'll see more than just some bones. You'll see the angles, the positioning, and the incredible skill it takes to tell a story. It really makes you wonder what other hidden complexities are out there, just waiting for the right angle to be revealed.